today. Today's video is different, and today's video is about why Scottish football is so underrated, but before we get into anywhere near to this video, a massive thank you for your support throughout 2020 from the bottom of my heart. It's been brilliant, and me hitting 3 milestones last year, it's been unbelievable. I hit 100 subscribers by June, I think, 200 in August, and then 300 by last month. So it's incredible the way you're loving you're loving the content, you're loving my videos. It's brilliant, and also thank you so much for your support on the second channel. I'll be starting out on next Sunday. So if you're not new to that channel, link in the description. And also if you're not new, I hope you do go on to enjoy this video. Actually, like, subscribe, boys. You should know the drill by now, and get the notifications on so you do not miss content from me in the near future. So let's get straight into the video. So the topic of this video is going to start with Gretna, and Gretna FC were a club based in Gretna Green, which was on the border of Scotland and England. So, and of course, guys, they rapidly rise through the leagues, and of course, in 2002 they got elected to the Scottish Football League, following the demise of the old Airdrieonians. All Airdrie fans actually felt for you when your club went bust, but there's a new Airdrieonians now who is in Scottish League One. So, and of course, in 2006 they were in the second division at the time. They were actually got beat by Hearts on penalties in the Scottish Cup final, and they'd gone into Europe. And of course, Raydale Park, which was their ground at the time, did not meet UEFA and the SPL requirements. So that's why they had to play their Europa League games at Fir Park, which was the home of Motherwell. And that's to say where the whole of their SPL season in 2007-08. And of course, in 2008, the club was placed into administration, and £2 million in debt, I think. I don't even know how much money they had in debt. Let me know down in the comments. And of course, this is so good to talk about, because I actually remembered all this. So I think, and of course, I forgot what his name was. One of our owners actually had to be placed in the hospital, and he could not fund more to keep the club going. And of course, the administrators tried their best just to keep the club going, but they just failed. And they got relegated. And of course, in March 2008, ahead of their game against Aberdeen, Gretna could have been out of business, so that the club could have been liquidated on the week that they played Aberdeen. So that means the SPL, would have been no relegation for the SPL. So that means I think Falkirk was in the league that year. So whoever was top of the old Scottish First Division that year would have not been promoted because of Gretna's demise, because of Gretna's liquidation. So, and of course, all their points from all of the games that Gretna were involved in would be withdrawn from the league. So, and of course, in June 2008, Gretna got demoted to the third division, to the Scottish third division, following their financial problems. But I think in August 2008, the club actually resigned from the Scottish Football League, and of course, the same day, the administrators actually liquidated the club. And of course, the fans, I think, they formed a new team called Gretna SC 2008. So, and of course, they're trying their best to get back into the top flight. So, and of the whole of the SPFL in general. So, and of course, and staying with the demotion things, now we're going to move on to Livingston's problems. Because I think a year later, Livingston was in a similar situation, but they weren't in the SPL that year. They were in the Scottish First Division, the second tier. So, And of course, Livingston was 7th in the Scottish First Division, was safe, and then he was originally was Airdrie United and I think Queen of the South got relegated actually. But however though, the 9th place team, despite losing the playoffs, following Livingston's demotion, the 9th place team stayed up because of Livingston's demotion to the 3rd division, and of course, ahead of that season, when they were in the 3rd division, Livingston nearly went bust, unless they had they had to pay like £20,000, I believe, in payments. In my opinion. So, and of course, I think, I'm not sure, but Livingston managed to not get bust. But the SFL actually put Livingston, and of course Livingston appealed it actually, but the SFL actually rejected, so that meant Livingston would stay in the Scottish 3rd division, and of course they rapidly made Livingston had such a journey from like the 3rd division onwards to being like nearly reaching the Europa League. Imagine Livingston in the Europa League, eh? And of course Livingston finished 5th in the league in the top flight last year, so fair play for Livingston. And of course that's the end of Livingston, and now moving on to Rangers. This is liquidation now, and oh my god, Rangers, mate, the Rangers won. Oh my! This is such an interesting one. So they're gonna get straight into it, and of course, Rangers were actually fighting with Celtic again to try and win their 4th consecutive SPL title in a row. They won it 2008, 2009, 2009, 2010, 2010 to 2011, and they didn't win it for the 11-12 season. Sorry about the notifications on my phone. And of course, Rangers were like 1 point behind Celtic, I believe. And of course, in like 30th of February 2012, the club actually went into administration. The club went into administration, and of course, this angered HMRC, who actually wanted to appoint their own administrators to investigate. Oh my god, how do you even say it? I don't even know how to say it. Investigate. I'm sorry about pronunciations, guys. And of course, Rangers got liquidated actually, but they didn't get liquidated as a club. And of course, a new company was called Sevco Scotland actually bought Rangers assets from the liquidator. Like players like Kyle Laverty and Stephen Naismith was allowed to leave the club for free, and technically their contracts were with the old Rangers. Other SPL clubs that voted Sevco, they're called Rangers Football Club Limited, guys. But it weren't allowed to have Rangers in the top flight. So instead, Dundee actually replaced Rangers. So basically, guys, of course, the other 11 SPL clubs actually voted against Rangers playing in the SPL. So that's why it was either a vote between Rangers and Dundee to be in the SPL the following season. And of course, Dundee won the vote. So that's why Dundee took Rangers' place in the SPL. Of course, Motherwell actually took Rangers' place out of the Champions League. Out from the Champions League. And of course, Rangers got demoted to the 3rd division. And of course, Rangers wanted to play in Division 1. But however, the 25 out of the 30 Scottish Football League clubs actually voted against Rangers playing in Division 1. So that's why the other clubs actually voted against Rangers to play in the 3rd division. And apparently, I seen on a YouTube video, one club actually voted against Rangers playing in the Scottish Football League. So they wanted them to start in the Lowland League. So that means they would have to have a smaller, so like a 1,000 capacity stadium then. That means they wouldn't have to use their training ground for the matches. But funny enough, Rangers actually stayed in the Scottish Football League, which was the fourth tier of Scottish football. And Rangers actually won the league, and of course they won the Scottish League, won Scottish League 1, and surprisingly by Motherwell, Rangers got denied a place in the Scottish Premiership, and of course in 15-16 they actually won the Scottish Championship by a country mile from Hibernian. And of course, Rangers now still currently 16 points ahead of Celtic in the Scottish Premiership. So now we're going to move on to the clubs that were in Europe. Not in Europe. The Hearts Partick Thistle court case. And okay, guys, so now moving on to the Hearts Partick Thistle court case. And this is an interesting one, actually, because I got some Partick Thistle fans and Hearts fans follow me on Instagram and subscribe to my channel. And so here's the Scottish Premiership table on the right-hand side on the screen, or on which side it is, and the Scottish Championship on the left side. And of course, both teams actually got relegated, but Hearts were like 4 points of Hamilton Academical at the time, and Partick Thistle were only 2 points of Queen of the South, but Partick Thistle had played one game less. So I think Queen of the South was Partick's game in hand. If Partick would have won that game in hand, they would have stayed. They would have had the chance of staying up. But apparently the SPFL did not let Partick Thistle play that game in hand. So my point of this is, it's disgraceful what the SPFL have done to Hearts and Partick Thistle, in my opinion. But no disrespect to the SPFL or anything. But Neil Doncaster, oh my God, get a grip, will you please? Because, like, what you've done to two really historic clubs, actually. With Partick Thistle, they haven't played in the Premiership for, like, nearly 3 years. For 3 years now. And Hearts, this is another one of these massive clubs was in the Scottish Premiership, and just 2012, just recently, they were actually playing against like Liverpool, and 2011 playing against Tottenham in the Europa League. So these kind of clubs deserve so much better from Neil Doncaster, in my opinion. And they're actually fighting legal action against the SPFL as well. So, apparently, I think Oren said to me in August, I'm not sure, but apparently there was a rumour of on BBC saying that Partick Thistle and Hearts could be expelled. Both of them could be expelled from the SPFL. That apparently, I'm not sure, but they didn't, which is good. But they got fined so much money, and they've lost like £25,000, I believe. So, of course, Partick Thistle had one of the lowest budgets. I think Partick Thistle had the weakest squad in the league, but they still didn't deserve to go down, in my opinion. So, yeah. So, in my opinion, right, I'll say this right now. What the SPFL should have done, what would have been sensible, was Hearts versus Hamilton Academical and Partick Thistle versus Queen of the South. And whoever wins would stay up, and whoever would lose would go down, would be relegated. And that would make it fair then, instead of just like, nah, you're going to tell like Hearts and Partick Thistle, nah, that's it, you're like 2 points adrift and 4 points adrift, that's it, you're going down. How unfair is that? Because Partick Thistle had a game in hand and 2 points away from Queen of the South. But Partick Thistle's lawyers actually appealed the SPFL for that decision to reinstated. So what Partick Thistle wanted was they did not want relegation. So that would have meant Raith Rovers would have gone up. So yeah, and Hearts the same thing as well, because Dundee United, right? Of course, Dundee FC actually changed their vote. They actually voted yes for both all of the Championship, League 1 and League 2 to end, but I think all the other the Scottish Premiership clubs actually voted for the Premiership to end. Not all of the SPFL clubs, I think. So that meant Dundee made their rivals, Dundee United, champions of their league. And, of course, they all did it by points per game, actually. So that meant Dundee United went up and Hearts and Partick Thistle was relegated. If points per game when actually weren't a thing, they actually did it by current points. So that would have meant Partick Thistle would actually still been. So that would have meant Partick Thistle would have still been relegated. And in my opinion, I actually feel for them, because they don't deserve to be in the third tier of Scottish football. They should be either the Championship or even in the Premiership, in my opinion. So of course they can think, in my opinion, of course. And when they played Celtic in the Scottish Cup, I think there were barely fans left there, but they still actually sung, and I actually respect that. So yeah, and now moving on to the Scottish clubs that were in Europe. Okay guys, so now moving on to the final topic of this video about Scottish clubs that were in Europe. Of course, the big four are currently Celtic, Rangers, Motherwell and Aberdeen. So we're going to start off with Motherwell and Aberdeen for a second in Europe, before we head off to the Rangers and Celtic. And of course, Motherwell and Aberdeen have never been in the group stages of the Europa League before. They came close in the qualifying rounds, but really, right, to be honest though, I don't know what UEFA are just doing to Scottish clubs. They actually forced them to do in qualifiers, but the English clubs in the group stage. In my opinion, I disagree with that, because in my opinion, I think Scottish clubs should be in the group stages of either the Champions League or the Europa League, or the Europa League, just to make it a bit fair. So that's what I'm just saying. So, and my point of view of this, right, is and of course, Motherwell and Aberdeen, you always get into that Europa League spot every year. But however, because of the Rangers demotion thing, Motherwell were in the Champions League qualifiers twice. So, in fact, the 12-13 back-to-back actually seasons, because the Rangers weren't in the SPL. So, and Aberdeen though, them two have been struggling in Europe recently. So, in my opinion, so yeah, but. I respect both clubs, to be fair to them, so yeah. And so yeah, and of course, now moving on to Celtic and Rangers in Europe. And of course, both Celtic and Rangers have been doing so well in Europe recently. But Rangers this season, currently in the Europa League, are doing better than Celtic, because Celtic crashed out the group stage, but Rangers are still in the Europa League. So, but overall, though, I think both clubs doing really well in Europe. So, of course, both of them were actually in the Champions League, but Rangers weren't in the Champions League until the 2010-11 season. They were in the group stage that year, so that was the last time that Rangers were in the group stage. And the last time that both Celtic and Rangers was actually in the group stage together, I think it was the 2003 to 2004 season. Well, Rangers had to play like Manchester United, and they got beat 3-0, and then they had to play United again in the 10-11 season. Mad. And yeah, so of course Rangers, the Celtic Park and Ibrox Knights in Champions League and the Europa League is another level. And honestly, if I were to see them Knights, I would actually give them 10 out of 10, excluding the qualifiers in the group stages though. Oh my god, what atmosphere Celtic Rangers make in the Europa League and the Champions League when they're both in it respectively. So, and of course Rangers had like Naismith at the time, and they had like players like Fernando Rickson, who was brilliant for them in defence, and David Weir, and Kyle Lafferty, and Alan McGregor, who's still there. Alan McGregor and Pershaw, the man who actually I can't remember who was the one that scored against him. And whoever scored against Hibs that won them the league in 2005, that won them the league in 2005. And yeah, he was a good player, and of course, and Celtic, they had like Henrik Larsson, that Jack and Shoshini Nakaruma. Is that how you say his name? I don't even know how to say his name, but apologise about pronunciations. Who scored really free kick? He was a free kick master in the Scottish Premier League and for Celtic against Manchester United. And I'm gonna get one last topic in this video, which is Helicopter Sundays. So, what Helicopter Sunday is, guys, if you not know, is like the final day showdown between Celtic and Rangers for the title, and whoever would win will have this massive helicopter with the SPL trophy and come into that ground for that team that's won the league. So it's just been, I think Celtic only won Helicopter Sunday once, but it's just been Rangers that won it like 4 times, I think. I don't even know, but yeah. So you guys, hope you do enjoy this video. Please make sure you leave a like, subscribe to the channel. If you're brand new, make sure you turn on notifications. Of course, I want to hit 400 before the European Championships and 500 by the end of the year. If you can make that happen, get that like, get subscribing. And also Scottish audience as well. I want to see many Scottish people sharing this video as possible. So I hope you enjoy. Like, subscribe if you're new, turn on notifications. And yeah, I've got to get this edited. And yeah, thank you all for watching this video here, and Luppies and Techers.